Now, fear delegate has become a popular statement during internal party elections in Ghana. It is believed that delegates are influenced in several ways in their voting decisions, leading to the disappointment of some candidates. In today's episode of the Fear Delegate series, Nana Boache Iyadom interacts with some delegates in the Echuma Nwabiaja North constituency in the Ashanti region ahead of the NPP's presidential primary.
I will not say fear delegates, fear human beings, because the delegates haven't come from a different planet. The delegates are all human beings. Some are even my relatives. For all you know, you, even the interviewer, you are also a delegate. So I could also be afraid of you.
So come November 4th, delegates across the country will be going to their various polling stations to elect a flag bearer for the new patriotic party going into the 2024 general elections. But let's get interactive with some of these delegates from the Echuma Nwabiaja North constituency. Fear delegates, they say, but is that still the case? Openyi, Sir John say fear delegates, or can you marry Chemo? Edaso ye adwuma.
Yeah, or somebody told me to me say, Omo ombeye wos ombeye yododododo no and I say you want piece be eco premises na delegates for nyina di nachi e be koto no na e be koto no the expect say obenya no ho no o anya sa nti fear delegates ni de e wo ho e ye adwuma e be ye adwuma akopem say Yesu beba
ha de ti de be ye adwuma akopem say Yesu beba
and I mean on some dika
if you say enim say mre ko nanim no na ne ma bi sesa
na ne ma sesa ne say ebia de be ma ne ma sesa kakra wo delegate no say ebia de bedrum rebi na nipa wo so omoto aba na edoso ebia ekoyi Flagbearer Election na say ekoyi candidate bi no na bia nipa ne doso say nipa ontimi ntwie ska emfa ma saa nipa no na say ekoyi nipa kakra ya yeto aba ne de ene fe delegate ne de ewo ho pa
eti enipa nan a omuko gina November 4th no ewo so omusuru mu ankasa
100% sure 100%.
So na sa omu nyina ba campaign nso a modi omachi
na me se wo no makura ko stand aba wo makura no obi o mo be solete awo enso mu na be di wachi na yeni na ye fence yi papa dabi papa we ye fence papa ko syndrome ni krom kra na ni krom na dwuma efo ko ato beti ano na dwuma efo ko afo mu twon ko mu to beti ano enti abato de fear delegate de papa se one facade na 2 3 mu dia ene em hu se bia na wo kra wo nsuro nyame eno ko suro ye kra che bonsam delegate for
Yesu delegates
echa bonsam ye fuck ye shege mafia
but boss pacho osuso YouTube say e was ye fear delegate ampa
no correct na mom say enipa no so yi ne ho say ampa na ne nsem a wo ka no say ebia oba obeye bibi aboa mo say de ebra etwam no na police station for no hu hia no na say ende obi ba no ka say ebia me de me ba me ya ma ne kasa no atimi ma hu say we de oba obobo no ho moden kakra so hu
enti no de wo kan say aspirant bi wo ha wo say odi to ni tirim say ni message kura count
no correct
na say the message count e also fear delegates
oh yeah and they said the menu an kan no wo ho sa akosi say ewi ase be say so what I say enti oba can asem a be convince delegates no can they be convince wo mo so what I say enya atemdie can nia wo ba wo betumi aye wo kan nia wo ba na wo betumi aye a eno be ma enipa na hu se ampa sisi enya wo mugidie na yede ade na ma wo
ene ma memro so penyi o tie unuanu ma omo se fear delegates de wo ampa oso so YouTube se fear delegate wo
me da se me de me nyini isan se nipa no aye kasa na omo ne ye kasa nti omo ne ye kasa no se o kan se me na to akoma so a de obe bia na wo tirim se mpanyfo kasa me se wo be bibi wo dan mu a wa winim anopa no a prepare ho nti me de me nyini se fear delegate no aye adwuma
me de me gitum se wo ho na kasa ene adwensesaye because Sunday Yakasa say nipa nan na gyina sɛ ɔmo pɛ aba ɛna wɔsi gyina yɛ sɛ ɔkɔ akɔtɔ aba nti deɛ ɛma ne kɔba saa no ɛyɛ obi wɔ hɔ a na wɔsi gyina yɛ sɛ aba no mentoma nti ɛma saa dwumadie no ɛmmoa na mmom de mehu sɛ field delegates no deɛ ɛwɔ hɔ saa kɔpem sɛ awurade bɛba
ɛde nti na wososo sɛ Sir John ka sɛ field delegates
sɛ nipa no ɔnyɛ ɔmu ni because that time no ɔmo yɛ ne mafia shege mafia ɛna maa ne dwene sɛ hɛ deɛ nkɔfoɔ edi ayɛ mi ni nti na ɔka sɛ field delegates nti mi deɛ megye di yie sɛ ɛwɔ hɔ ɛntwa mu da ɛna awurade aba
ma membra also ɛde na wososo sɛ ɛma Sir John ka sɛ field delegates
boss na sɛ Sir John ɔmo ɔkɔ delegates for yi so a ɔmo nyina so mbɛto aba na ma ɔmo nyina obi ase mɛto aba ma ni akɔto no alusu a wɔso osuro yɛ
yɛhwɛ MPs na ɔmo nso di aspirants ni bi akyi no ɛyɛ adeɛ sɛ ɔmo betumi influence mo yɛkɔ November 4th yi
ɛnyɛ no korɛ ɔmo ntimi na deɛ Ghana deɛ delegates deɛ obi anyini ɛnyɛ nkora biom me delegates na sɛ deɛ me nua no mo kan sɛ ɔno wɔto wɔyɛ na adwen dada TMP de na bɛka kyerɛ no etimi deɛ me sɛ ɔmo nyai MPs me sɛ ɔmo nya neutral na sɛ de bɛyɛ a we ne a yɛnyɛ betuma de no yɛ support akɔyɛ de akoma no me nipa me sɛ meto ebia ne de me nipa me yɛ margin meto ma no so wanwe ne a yɛto de nipa no ba akɔpɛ we ne a yɛ nyinaa bɛ akɔkɔ campaign ma NPP ɛno ne hia bɛ sɛ ɔkɔ gyina ba akɔ akyi na akɔ yiwa nim kim ne nipa na anwe ne sɛ kim abɛ ɔtuma akɔ ne nkyɛn ɛnso sɛ yɛsi yɛ pɛsɛ kɔ break 8 yɛ break na yɛ kɔ break 8 enti saa de na MPC de me sɛ kɔ saa na wɔtwe me nsa kakra ka no ɔmo ntwe ɔmo ho firi ho na aspirants na nkasa nyo modwuma me aspirants bi no mark betunu fo say saa de me kana so beti a on pam MPC nya fina chi no anya na adwuma odo on fa ne campaign team no no munya adwuma because MPC ni bi wo hɔ a delegate ni fu bi do mo hi beto abaretia ayi aspirants ni bi etimi sere wo mo MPC ni ntwa mo ho mfiri me de me tu aspirants no fo say omo mo ntwa mo mfiri omachi because ebi wo hɔ a me se omo nsa nye omo nsa ho ye fi MPC no bebrebe nsa ho nye tie be sere say me de me tu asesi me tu asesi me MP me support no o ye MP but onje neutral convince be to aba no.
So these are the opinions of some of these delegates we interacted with here at the Atwumanwabija North constituency. For some of them, they do believe that field delegates still exist. Others think otherwise. But going into the November 4th election, they have sent a clear message to these aspirants. For Joy News, my name is Nana Boache Dankwa Yadom.
Now, as the New Patriotic Party primaries draw nearer, a recent survey conducted by Global Info Analytics reveals Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as the front runner in the presidential race. However, Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Japan, has shown significant gains in support. The survey, conducted with 4,311 NPP delegates from all 275 constituencies between October 2 and 11th, shows that Dr. Bawumia leading with 43.5% support. In a surprise twist, the outspoken MP has managed to rally substantial support, securing 23.5% of delegates backing in the last few months, while Dr. Bawumia remains the candidate to beat. The rising popularity of Kennedy Japan suggests the race may be more closely contested than initially anticipated. The survey also revealed that 18.3% of delegates remain undecided, indicating that the final outcome may hinge on a fierce campaign effort. Now, joining me in studio is the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa, and Isaac Kofi Eje is with our research desk here at Joy News. Gentlemen, welcome. What does the research data say?
Well, Kojo, I think I'm glad to have Musa here on the touch screen. And indeed, you have to fear delegates, because if you look at this outcome of your survey, it's very interesting how, let's not even talk about this. Let's start with this huge or significant number of delegates who say they will not disclose their votes to you or remain undecided. If you combine the two of them, we are talking about 32.3%. What actually led to this number of delegates saying they will not disclose or they are indecisive?
Which we've seen and heard they've been talking about. So they are unwilling to disclose who they want to vote for, even though they've made up their mind. And then those who said they were undecided. This number has been moving up and down from when Alan withdrew from the race, and then that number has been going up and up slightly. Now, what we have realized is that those who are not disclosing, even though they've made up their mind, they are mostly anti-establishment candidates.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Those who have said they will not disclose.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So we are also looking at in the event of a run, of course, if you look at the first data that we showed, Dr. Bawumia is actually in the lead, but with 43%. And you ask the delegates, if there's a runoff, who will you vote for? We still have that significant number.
They haven't shifted.
Yes, exactly.
They haven't shifted.
And we see both leading, candidates all dropping by 0.5%.
No, actually, Kennedy went up from 23.5% to 25, so about 1.5%.
And he dropped by 0.5%.
So the slight movement from those other two candidates' support went to Kennedy. Yes. Even though it's insignificant. I think it is very important to point out that from what we understand from the numbers, it is highly unlikely the race will go into runoff because of the numbers these two are registering.
The undecided.
So these two,
if these guys were doing 5%, that they could pull the two candidates backwards.
Okay.
Now they are doing less than 1% or thereabouts. It's highly unlikely they will push the race into runoff.
So we are looking at someone getting a 50% plus one.
Yes. And anybody of them
32%.
Yes.
Bawumia needs about 9% of this vote. 9%
to get 50%. Yes.
Exactly, to get 50% plus one. Kennedy, on the other hand,
needs quite a lot.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you still believe that with this huge number here, there will not be any runoff?
No.
That's interesting. Let's also look at the regional distribution of the data, because I see some interesting trends over there. Let's start with the Ahafo region where...
And the other side is not showing.
Exactly. So let's try and see.
Yeah, it's showing now.
Yeah. So Bawumia is leading. 46%, Kennedy Japan 8%, and you still have
33% not disclosing. These guys are quite dangerous.
Interesting. In the Ashanti, let's go to the Ashanti region.
Ashanti region, Kennedy is leading by 6 percentage points, 33% to 39%. You have 22% undecided and only 5% not disclosing. So the people who may spring surprise in Ashanti will be the undecided voters.
So Bono East and Bono East region, I think the same thing is also panning now. Just that,
but we expect Bawumia to win. Yeah, we expect him to win
heavily in
those three regions.
I saw Eastern region in one of the slides down there. And Eastern region, if you are looking at the region with the highest number of undecided or undisclosed votes, that was number 3. If you look at the Eastern region, Dr. Bawumia is leading almost 50%.
Yeah.
Kennedy Japan is hovering around 15%. Is there any interesting twist or dynamics to this?
I wouldn't expect a twist in Eastern region overall. I expect Bawumia to be probably winning around 55% in the end, because he's close to 50%, and those not disclosing 18%. Even if you add that entirely to Kennedy, he will not match. He won't make it. And then,
Greater Accra.
So Greater Accra is very dicey.
Greater Accra.
Look at almost 50% of the respondents or delegates not disclosing or undecided.
Do you count Greater Accra as one of the swing regions?
Yes, it's a swing region. It has.
So how many swing regions are we looking at?
We're looking at Greater Accra, Central and Western regions as swing.
As swing regions. So 3 regions being swing regions.
Yes.
And we have safe havens for almost all the candidates. What do you think are the regions being the safe haven for Bawumia and then also?
I mean, the entire northern region is safe for him. He's clocking around 75% there. He's going to be safe in the northern region. And then you look at Northeast, 90%, Upper East, 69%, Savannah, 62%, Northern region, 76%.
Interesting.
OT is tied in OT.
Interesting. So OT is the outlier in this whole analysis, because I've not seen a tie in...
And there's a tie in Western region as well.
Western region, let's try.
If you go to Western region, 31-29.
Almost a tie.
Almost a tie. And then 17% not disclosing, 22% undecided. It's really, really tricky there in Western region. If you look at the Western North, Bawumia leads 44 to 25%. 16% not disclosing, another 16% undecided. I think
are there factors determining their choices?
we didn't ask them why.
Okay.
The reason for their choices. Question for who would you vote for?
Okay.
The answers.
This is the chart that I actually, I'm interested in because it gives you that trend analysis and shows you who is improving and who is not. Let's do the post-superdelegate analysis, and after you can see that Honorable Kennedy Japon is actually closing the gap, whilst Dr. Bawumia is actually declining.
Yes.
In the
after the superdelegate polls, he got a huge bump from 34.8% to 48.8%. That was the aura around the winning and then the noise that he got, and that reflected in the polls there.
Yeah.
And then Kennedy moved from 12.5% to 21.2%.
So the two of them all moved significantly.
Yes, they made huge gains compared to Alan. Alan was in the race, but we just took him off. You could see that after the showdown, he really made a huge improvement from the poll numbers. Then we have Alan withdrawing from the race. Here. This is when Alan withdraws. When Alan withdrew, Bawumia dropped to 44.9%.
So I'm sure that's what influenced the interval here.
Yes.
From 5th to 10th.
Yes, because...
So in just a matter of 5 days, Bawumia drops by almost 5 percentage points, right?
What we're doing was that we're doing the polling, and when Alan withdrew, we have to bring that poll to an end.
Okay.
But we had him as a candidate, so we ended that poll at midway through. Then the following day, when he went out, we started the poll again. So here is a day after he has dropped from the race to see what effect would that have. Okay. And the effect is that Bawumia dropped 44.9% from 48.8%, and Ken also dropped. And what happened is that these people went into not disclosing and undecided.
Oh, okay. So they decide because of the incidents surrounding
they have to take a deep breath and decide what do I do.
And right after they decided, October 11th.
Yes.
And that's where we see the gap actually closing.
Yes, Bawumia drops again.
Exactly.
And then Kennedy goes up. You could see that relatively Kennedy is making much more gains per the period compared to Dr. Bawumia. He dropped about 1.something%, and Kennedy gained almost 5.something%. So while Kennedy is gaining grounds, Bawumia was losing grounds. Okay. So if this trend continues from the date we ended the poll, election day, there could be a problem for Bawumia.
Subject to those who still remain undecided. And then not disclosing their votes. Another interesting what we are talking.
This is the guys who said they're not disclosing. After superdelegate, the number went up.
Yeah.
Because, this is superdelegate.
Superdelegates.
Alan withdraws. When Alan withdraws, that number goes up because people are now confused. Those who were backing Alan didn't know what to do because Alan didn't get any direction as to where they should go to. So they went into what undecided.
After he decided that he would go independent. Interesting thing happening.
The numbers, it drops to 14%. This one too drops. So they were now taking positions within the two countries.
Alan actually left behind a number of followers.
Yes.
Who do you think will profit from this?
From the poll we did after Alan stepped down, a quarter of Alan supporters were going to Dr. Bawumia.
Oh, okay.
And another quarter, around 35%, were going to Kennedy. The remainder said they were undecided.
So it means that Alan's departure is benefiting from, Kennedy Japon is actually benefiting from Alan's departure.
And we suspect that those who were saying that they will not disclose to us, they were Alan people who were not disclosing before because of what we have already established, and that they are continuing doing the same thing right now.
Another interesting chart. The number of people who still say they are not disclosing their votes. You can see the Greater Accra region with the highest proportion, followed by the Ashanti region, Eastern region, then we have Western
and Volta. Yeah. So, and you see, you could read meaning into it. Look at Ashanti region is areas we expect Kennedy to do well. It's leading there now. So this number, if they break away, they're going to break away in his favor because he's leading right now. Okay. There's advantage there. In Greater Accra, huge number, but Bawumia is leading in Greater Accra.
And Greater Accra is a swing region.
It's a swing region, and we don't know what they're going to behave, but we believe that Bawumia may win it, but we will by a small margin. And then Volta region, the way it looks, I think it can be anybody's. And OT is a square, but Western region is very, very dicey there.
The Western region still remains, one of the gender and other indicators that we are talking about. So if you look at other interesting angle is the indicator is the educated and uneducated, delegates who actually participated in this poll. you find out that those who are educated are on the side of Dr. Bawumia, and those who probably are not educated are at the other side.
No, not really. In fact, Bawumia leads among all the demography by education. Here is on 53%. He leads, and Kennedy on 14%. But 17% of them said they won't tell us. 16% said they are undecided. When you come to those with tertiary, here they are. Tertiary, 44% support Bawumia.
So he's leading.
It's leading.
In terms of education.
Yes. But the danger is these guys who are 15% here, 12% there, 14 here, and 17 here. We don't really know how they're going to behave on election day.
Okay, interesting. But, I mean, prior to the superdelegates Congress of the party, now your research placed Dr. Bawumia as first. It was followed by Alan Tremantin, Kennedy Japan, Kwabena Japan, and then Dr. Akoto. But this was not realized. People will say, how do we then trust this research?
I think people are misreading the polling numbers.
Okay.
We never polled superdelegate. We did not touch superdelegate. We believe that we will not get honest answers from them, so we don't touch them.
Okay.
We did a poll of Ghanaians who Ghanaians would prefer to lead MPP. Those are not superdelegates.
So the target population was
different.
Not the super
Absolutely. So people,
but rather ordinary
Ghanaians.
Okay.
And then we came on the 14th June to poll MPP polling station executives, not superdelegates.
Okay.
And in that one, we show the scores there.
Yeah.
We did not touch superdelegate.
Okay. So these are two different
altogether. So people are just confusing the issues, including Samia Oku. He's just confusing the issue. We didn't poll superdelegate on record. There was nowhere on our Twitter or Facebook handle or any whatever report that we have issued that talks about superdelegate. We stayed away.
But it has no significance on the superdelegate results. I mean, your work before the
No. Look. These are top brass party executives. We interviewed ordinary Ghanaians on the street, and we interviewed polling station executives, not even constituency original executives. Polling stations. These are the Tom, Dick, and Harry on the road.
Okay, interesting. We'll be bringing in some of the people who speak for the various candidates so we can get their perspective as well. Okay, so we have Sami Auku, who is campaign spokesperson for Dr. Bawumia. We also have Prince Amozu, campaign spokesperson for Dr. Afriye Akoto. Let me start with you. Now we can call you lawyer Sami Auku. You've heard Global Info Analytics explaining the reasoning behind the post there. And they say that this is different from the one they did before the superdelegate Congress. How do you react to the performance of your candidate?
Well, first of all, let me say good evening to all of you out there. And then to Musa, my friend and brother. But let me take Musa back. And for you, let me make a quick correction. I'm not Dr. Bawumia's spokesperson. I help coordinate his campaign. Those who speak for Dr. Bawumia, the Honorable Nana Akomia, Dr. Gideon Boakon, and Miracle Sabwadi, they speak for him. But I made the campaign for him.
Thanks for the correction.
Ahead of the August 26th Superdelegate Conference, my brother Musa says that they only sampled the opinion of Ghanaians. And then based on that, they made a prediction for the top 5. Let me situate this in a proper context. How do you sample the views of Ghanaians who were not part of the superdelegate elections? And based on that, uses that to make an analysis and predicts the top 5 ahead of the superdelegate, with 1, Dr. Bawumia leading by 36%, Alan Tremantin 33.3%, Kennedy Japan 24.8%, Kwabena Japan 1.5%, and Dr. Afriye Akoto 1.3%. He placed Adainimo last. Info Analytics, what they did bore no resemblance to the actual results that day. That saw Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia being preferred by almost 69% of the superdelegates against the 36% that they had predicted for him.
Well, but he has explained there that his targets were not the superdelegates.
So even the sample size that he used to make his predictions ahead of the superdelegate had no grounds and were factually inaccurate for him to have even used that on the basis of that to make predictions governing the superdelegate. Again, just after the June 15 polls that he made, that he was referring to, Musa Dankwa again puts Dr. Bawumia 34.8% ahead of the Honorable Alan Kyerematen, 27.9%, Kennedy Japan 12.5%, Dr. Bawumia 34.8%, and Alan Kyerematen 27.9%. And to top it all, says that Alan Kyerematen would have won a head-to-head election with against Dr. Bawumia. That's 54% to 46% within the general population. Let me get down properly to these analysis. So it is clear that in their prediction ahead of the superdelegate, they got it wrong. Dr. Bawumia defied the odds and defied whatever target they had set for themselves. And Dr. Bawumia won by 69%. I cannot fault them if they want to do research. But what I want us also to be guided is that this is a delegates election. The sample size that he used, I'm sure around 5,000, I don't know, he mentioned the figure. This is about 200,000 delegates, over 200,000 that we're talking about. Let me know, let's say if you take Zabzugu constituency, we interviewed and polled, let's say 50 or 100. You take Ayawaso West Wogo, you take Evaluate Ajomorojura, you take maybe North Town, you take maybe Chereponi, or you take these constituencies. Then we know the methodology, the sample size that you use. But if you just come to tell me that you interviewed people, you told them based on which geographical location that they were located, and you are not giving me the constituency breakdown, it will be difficult for me to analyze.
But he said that they interviewed them across all the constituencies in Ghana.
Constituencies. I want to see, because he's giving you that of gender. I was looking at the gender, the demographics that you presented. You've given me that of educational background and almost all the indicators that you need. I want to see the constituency by constituency breakdown. For us as a campaign, we have done extensive polling. We have done research. We know where our strength, our weaknesses, and going into these final days. But I can tell you that the Bawumia camp is claiming an almost 80% victory next week, Saturday.
Okay.
And I'm very confident about that. Any polling that puts Dr. Bawumia below 75% becomes an accident in history.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Stay with me. Dr. Dankwa, how do you react to what he is saying? Really? Which one?
Because you see, when we release our polls, we define the people we interviewed. They don't read the polling report we issued. Otherwise, he wouldn't be saying this. Because in the one that he was mentioning, it has nothing to do with NPP superdelegates or delegates. When we do our national tracking poll, we ask Ghanaians, who would you prefer to lead NPP or NDC? That should not be taken as delegates. And then secondly, when Alan was in the race, it wasn't superdelegate we were doing before the
So hold on. The superdelegates that you did,
we didn't do
target population was Ghanaians. And this one you're talking about delegates themselves.
We did not use any of our work to make projections on superdelegate. They have been peddling this falsehood for too long. They should get our report. It's on our website. They should read it carefully.
His point is about the timing of the release, that you released the report ahead of the superdelegate, which sort of creates the impression that your target was the superdelegate.
Again, that's not true. You see, in June, we did the delegates. The July is our normal 90-day tracking poll.
Okay.
It wasn't because there's an election that no, it was programmed to happen in July, and we did it. And we told them what Ghanaians think who should lead NPP.
Okay.
We did not say anywhere that this is how the...
But there was information on NDC as well, right?
All right.
Yes, so...
Anyway, grateful to you for response. Let me bring in Amuzu, Dr. Prince Amuzu. He is a campaign spokesman for Dr. Afriyie Akoto. Grateful for joining us here. Now, per the research, you see that your candidate is performing woefully. How do you react to this research findings?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and listeners. The Dr. Afriyie Akoto campaign is not disturbed at all about what pollsters do. Indeed, the work of the pollsters is also significantly important in our politicking, and we will have to continue to encourage them, except to say that most of the time they got it wrong. And before the superdelegate, many people came up with polls and said that even Dr. Usofia would make it to the first 5, but what happened was totally different. And this particular one, you are talking about over 200,000 and 200,000 and 205,000 delegates, and then your sample size is less than 5,000. It's okay because it takes a lot of effort to do that. We encourage them, but honestly, it doesn't reflect at all what will happen in 4th November. This particular pool of delegates are largely farmers, directly or indirectly linked to agriculture, and they are following the messaging of the aspirants. It is only Dr. Usofia who has a very strict and straightforward messaging to use agriculture to take Ghana off the economic quagmire which we find ourselves in now. And this is the type of message that people are looking for. When the polling station people and constituency people are crying, they've not got anything, they are crying, they don't have money, they are hungry, they're looking for messaging that will solve their problem. This is what Dr. Usofia presents. He says,
but if that is the case, then of course when they were showing
perspective, you will not be able to appreciate why the people are saying. I have said, and I will repeat again, this undecided, undisclosed thing you are discussing is because the people are afraid to say their mind. Okay. People are threatening people that they will be sacked from the party, they will lose their positions and all of that. Okay. If MMDCs and party chairmen in the constituency level are being made campaign managers of an aspirant, what do you expect? People are not willing to talk. And most people who are even telling you what they are telling you is because they want to win favor. They don't even know who you are. They don't know who you are going to report them to. And so they are just giving you these figures. These will not reflect on 4th of November. 4th of November, the farmer's friend, Dr. Usofia is going to emerge victorious. And everybody will see to the wonder of Ghanaians.
Doc, I'm grateful. Let me bring in George Entry. He is campaign spokesperson for Adai Demo. Entry, grateful for joining us here. So how do you also react to the research findings?
Yes, well, to start with, I have not seen it. I've been driving. I have not seen it.
Okay.
But what I would say is, prior to the special college election, and these polls, came out, several of them, and none of them gave Honorable Dynamo any chance. None of them. None of them, including, the one just, the report, you have it. And so, I cannot have confidence in that poll. Just need to be clear with that. Okay. I cannot have that confidence.
So now, on the D-Day,
know the state of the country, know the mood of.
On the D-Day, I mean, how confident are you?
Where of the record, the trend, 2000 to 2016, that any candidate associated with this administration is likely to, or probably, it's probable, the chances of, such a candidate leading the party into opposition is quite high.
Okay.
And so, what they are looking for is one with the new face, one with the charisma, one with the integrity, nobility, and dignity, to lead the party. And such personalities are really rare in our political space. And so if they find that in Honorable Adainimo, they are happy to go with it, to lead the party into the next general election. So for us, we believe.
So if there's a runoff and Adainimo doesn't make the cut, who are you supporting?
Sorry, please, I can't hear. Come again? Say it again.
I'm asking that if there's a runoff, if there's a possible runoff and Adainimo doesn't make the cut and it's between Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Kennedy Japan, who will your camp be supporting?
Oh, no. I mean, that is out of the question. I mean, we are in the race. Our hope is that Honorable Adainimo will eventually be made the presidential candidate for the New Patriotic Party.
Okay.
So that is what we are looking at.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
So yeah, Doc, you've heard the responses there. They do not believe or trust that this will be a true reflection on 4th November.
Well, we have done a random sampling. We didn't target any constituency or any region. We allocated a sample to the regions according to the voting population of those regions. And we randomly call using telephone system.
Oh, so you called the
yes,
delegate?
we called delegate on the phone randomly. So I wouldn't even know where the machine will pick the numbers from.
Okay.
It's random. And so long as that randomness has been continually taken care of throughout the entire process, believe me, let's wait till next week, Saturday.
But you spoke to a delegate in every constituency?
We spoke to a delegate in every constituency, 4,311 of them.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Mr. Dankwa is the Executive Director for the Global Info Analytics. We'll take a quick break here. We'll be back with more. Stay with us. Now, welcome back from the break. Former Energy Minister Boakye Ejiako fights back criticism about his involvement in the abrogation of the Trafigura contract that has resulted in a $140 million judgment debt against Ghana. According to him, he only acted on the recommendation of President Akufo-Addo's cabinet in the abrogation of the Ghana Power Purchase deal with Trafigura Limited. He says government took the decision to save the country from paying an excess capacity charge of $24.9 million per annum from the 107 megawatt of power plant constructed by Trafigura. A former power minister under the John Mahama administration, Dr. Kwabena Donko, has called on Parliament to probe the energy minister, Boakye Ejiako. For the stories now, and the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, has issued a stern warning to anyone considering inciting violence during the upcoming National Congress of the NPP. As a result, the IGP has announced security will be tightened and strict to ensure a peaceful and well-organized event. This commitment from Dr. George Akufo-Dampare follows discussions with the Elections Committee as part of preparations toward the conduct of the elections on November 4. There's more in this report.
The much anticipated Congress of the governing New Patriotic Party, where 4 aspirants are vying to lead the party, is just about a week ahead. As part of preparations, the Elections Committee met with the Ghana Police Service to conclude on the security arrangements. General Secretary of the governing NPP, Justin Frimpong-Kodia, charged the Ghana Police Service to take charge of security, whilst admitting infractions that occasioned the Superdelegates Congress.
I must admit that there were certain bit of infractions on 26th of August, and we are hoping that come November 4th, these things will not happen. So, Mr. IGP and your team, you have absolute support of the party. On that day, look at it without fear or favor and act and do your work as you professionally always do.
On the part of the chairman of the Elections Committee of the NPP, Professor Mike Ironokwe, he wants the Ghana Police Service to ensure that the election is not compromised.
The regulations which they have all signed to and which we are going to make available to the police, already available to the EC, is going to be the blueprint of the process. Anyone who disregards this on that day should be dealt with according to law. We want to establish that this country is a lawful nation. And for that matter in particular, the NPP is an advanced party. We claim to be the fathers and mothers of democracy in Ghana, and we will always continue to do so. Therefore, we must act in a manner that is in conformity with the relevant claims that we make.
The IGP, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, also indicated his readiness to provide what he calls an overdose of security to ensure a free and fair and incident-free elections.
We want to assure you that on the 4th, we are going to give you an overdose of security, and it will be excellent. It will be awesome. All what we require from you is to support us for each and every one of us to play his or its role.
The Electoral Commission has also communicated its readiness to supervise the election, despite a few challenges. Samuel Tete is the Deputy Director General in charge of elections at the Electoral Commission.
We are almost close to the date, and the Commission is not leaving any stone unturned. We are doing all what we could to make the election successful.
So far, the aspirants have not raised issues regarding the electoral process building up to the Congress of the governing NPP. They are anticipating and expecting a free and fair election. Reporting from the police headquarters here in Accra, Samuel Mbura, Joy News.
This is still Joy NewsPrime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back.